Hey everyone, welcome back to the Strong Girl Girls podcast.
Welcome. So today we're going to go into why me and Jess don't train for aesthetic reasons. It's a bit of a question mark with training. I feel like I get asked this question quite a lot anyway, why do I never see like before and after pictures? And why don't you post X, Y, or Z? But we just wanted to kind of go into today why we've moved away from training for aesthetics.
And I think it's important to just start off with, we have definitely done it in the past. And I think, especially when you first start, like your fitness journey, you first start training, let's just say 80% of people, roughly, will probably start with a physique related goal. Maybe you start because you want to lose weight or you want to look a certain type of way. But I think training like that for like a long period of time is just not doable. It's not motivating. So today we're going to talk about why we don't do that anymore and what we do instead, and actionable points for you guys that you can put into action and really just start slowly moving away from it yourself as well. We know you want to feel confident and look good and feel good when you look in the mirror, but Ella's going to tell us why that isn't the only reason you should train.
I'm going to tell you why. So I feel like when I was, I don't know, at the start of my fitness journey, I kind of saw all these people being like, well, to be honest, there wasn't that many people not training for aesthetics back then. But like, I would always think, oh, if you're not training to, change your body or make your body better, then I would almost think that like those people didn't have respect for their bodies. But now that I'm like on the other side of it and I don't train for aesthetics, I train to feel good, to be strong, I know that that is having more respect for my body than training for aesthetics ever gave me, because I was always trying to change something. Like, I don't know about you, Jess, but like I was always trying to reach a goal that I was never really going to reach.
You feel like you're on hamster wheel, just constantly going and going and going and going and chasing this end goal that, by the way, even if you do reach it, you end up wanting more. And I cannot stress that enough. Like, if you want to, for example, I don't know, grow your glutes or have a flatter stomach, when you reach that goal, or maybe you want to be a certain weight on the scale, for example, when you reach that goal, most of the time you're just going to end up wanting more anyway. And I think when you only train to change the way that you look, it can be so easy to just get lost in the cycle of wanting more and more and more and not celebrating other wins as well, like what your body can do, for example. Because when you start leaning into performance goals, which is what we're going to talk about in a second, like the game changes. And by the way, your body will change more than ever as a byproduct of you leaning in to other wins and leaning into your performance. Because if you turn up to the gym with the intention to, I don't know, go walk on the treadmill for an hour to lose weight, it's not going to be a motivating factor enough for you to keep showing up time and time again. And let's be honest, you need to show up time and time again to change your body. It doesn't just happen overnight.
For sure. I think motivation is the biggest thing that I'll probably talk about today anyway. Like, training for aesthetics and trying to change your body, for me anyway, just wasn't motivating. I wasn't seeing these changes that I saw people get on Instagram. And when I really started being consistent with the gym and showing up the way I wanted to show up, the amount of times per week I wanted to show up, I was going into the gym, or I am still going into the gym, to get more weight on the barbell, to become more powerful, to become stronger. And that is, for me, a really motivating factor to get me going back to the gym. And like you touched on, you can't make changes in your body without being consistent and without challenging your body consistently over time. So I think it's easy to get wrapped up in the aesthetics of things, but you don't really think about what motivation that's going to leave you with.
For sure. And I think let's just like clarify, it's okay if you've got physique related goals, but just know, like, if you lean into other styles of goal setting as well, so maybe that is running 5k for the first time, or maybe that's increasing your 1 rep max for a back squat, whatever goals it is that you might have, it's really important to lean into them instead of just chasing the next physique. Let's just take a second to highlight how much trends are ever changing. Like, 1 minute we want to be small, and then the next minute Instagram's telling us that we all need to be strong and we need to grow more muscle. Like,
Big bum.
I think if you're just constantly chasing like the next trend and you're waiting for confidence to come just like when your body changes, you're just going to be waiting so long. And it's again, like it all comes down to motivation again, doesn't it? You're not going to be motivated to keep going for the long run. So coming back to women's bodies and how the standard is ever changing, should we talk more about that?
Yeah, I honestly feel like it's exhausting. Like we just said, you want a big bum, you need to be slimmer, you need to be thicker, like all these things on Instagram that I'm not going to lie, all take a really, really long time to achieve if you're doing it healthily. All of these trends, and maybe, I think fashion obviously has a massive part to play in what the current ideal, let's say, in quotation marks, body type looks like. But you're just going to be chasing one thing, not achieving it, then switching to chase another thing. And at the end of the day, every female has a different bone structure, body type. We all carry weight a little bit differently. We've all got naturally bigger or smaller boobs, whatever it might be. And I just think you're just doing yourself a disservice trying to make yourself like the newest trend.
To trying to fit into a certain body type that genetically you might never be able to achieve. It doesn't matter even if you have the same training split as someone, eat the exact same thing. Genetically, you're probably never going to look like that said person. And also, just to quickly mention on that body types that, especially that you see on social media, because I can imagine there is a lot of women listening now who do get into that negative scroll hole of on Instagram or whatever it is that you scroll on, TikTok these days, I guess, of why don't I look like that? How can I look like that? And things like that. And I think it's just important to remind yourself that the body types that you are seeing could be from really unsustainable lifestyles. It could be, again, genetically, they just carry a lot less body fat and they was born to hold more muscle and have more of a leaner physique. It could be the fact that, I know this is something you've mentioned before, Ella, is like they did a different sport. And then because of that sport that they did, I don't know, maybe they did gymnastics all of their childhood growing up. And now they are just naturally super strong and lean and all of these things that you don't know people's backgrounds is what I'm trying to say very rapidly is you don't know people's backgrounds. So you comparing your body and your progress and your physique to somebody else's is just so unhelpful, and it's just going to make you feel so unmotivated and just so discouraged as well.
I think that is massive on social media at the moment. I see a lot people selling programs, not so much maybe other coaches, but maybe like influencers and things like this, and they're promoting the way that they train as if the way they train has got them to what their current body type is. So, someone down the road who's never trained before, wants to go in the gym, thinks, oh, I'll copy what that person's doing because I want to look like that. I just think it's really important to know that if you are training for aesthetics, you're not going to look like that person just because you follow their program, which I think social media is quite damaging in that way.
For sure. But hopefully that's been helpful for some of you guys listening. But going into, and can we just talk about for a second, how important it is to like feel so strong and feel capable. And when you lean into performance goals and stop moving away from chasing that next desired scale weight or whatever it is that you might be currently chasing. And when you lean into, oh my God, I can do my first pull up, or I just ran my first 5K, or I just added 20 kg to my squat. Like how amazing that feels. And that is the top reason why we now train for more performance related goals, because it's just amazing to feel strong and not just get disheartened by your body not changing all the time, because let's be real, it doesn't change all of the time.
Yeah, I think looking at your strength and how capable you are and how that then relates to how you go about your daily life and your confidence, that is so much more impactful than being smaller or being lighter. And I think there's something massive in like going to the gym and aiming for a heavier back squat, like you say, or wanting to run your first ever 5K, making you feel so empowered. And then you look at the kind of way of tracking things. Let's say if you are training for aesthetics, you're stepping on the scales, you're doing body measurements. I personally don't think that makes anyone feel good. You know, looking at this number that you just want to get smaller and smaller and smaller every time, it's just disheartening and not very empowering. I think looking at what you can lift and how that makes you feel as a result is just a much better way to live your life and sustainably enjoy fitness.
And you can keep going for a long period of time with performance goals. You can, like, strength, for example, is something that can just keep getting better and better and better. Like, how far do you go with a physique goal? How far do you truly go? Like, you can keep going forever. And honestly, it's just not a sustainable way to go about your health and fitness goals. And Ella and I are obviously very more lifestyle coach based. Like, you're not going to come and coach with us if you're looking to change the way you look in 6 weeks' time. So we understand that also other coaches might have like a different understanding of this as well. But I think it's just important to realize that if you are someone who wants to do this for a lifestyle, who wants to make lifting and wants to feel strong and feel all of these things and have a routine that makes them feel good on a day-to-day basis, then you've got to lean into something other than just chasing the next physique goal. We need something that can keep you in this for the long run. And having a training plan, having performance goals is something that's going to keep you in it for the long run.
That's what you were saying about there's only so far you can go with aesthetics. I think the reason why I love strength training so much and training for performance is because maybe I'm a control freak, but it's something that I will always have under my control. Like, I love the fact that I can, if I put in the work, be as strong as I want. I can add 10 kg to my deadlift in a year or whatever it is. Like, I can do these things that make me feel strong and confident. Whereas I think with aesthetics, it left me anyway, just feeling a bit flat. And even when I did achieve these things, I just kind of felt like,
well, what's next?
And it was like happening to me rather than me being in control of the situation. And I think before I kind of really got into fitness, started focusing on performance and actually genuinely did see my body change, I was almost trying the next diet or trying the next fad or Instagram trend, thinking, oh, will this work? Will this give me the body that I want? And that is just such a depressing way to live life.
Yeah, I personally as well just got very sick of chasing that constant physique goal that, like you say, sometimes you wouldn't even be able to actually physically hit. So for anyone listening, if you are feeling the same or maybe you felt like that way in the past, just know that you can get into fitness and you can have a nice, healthy, strong routine without always having a physique goal. So in a nutshell, it's okay if you do have a physique goal, but just don't make it your main priority. Don't let it take front and center stage. Almost have it as a bit of a side goal and really start leaning into lifestyle changes, the way that you are feeling, maybe strength and performance-based goals, if that's something you are interested in getting into. And honestly, I'm just going to say it, but watch your body change more than ever as a byproduct. Just going to say it now.
And I think as well, like, to kind of bring together everything we've said, you can absolutely chase performance goals and lifestyle changes as well as having an aesthetic goal. And you'd be surprised how much focusing on the performance and lifestyle side of things helps you get to that aesthetic goal. And I think for lots of people, at some point, you just actually forget about that aesthetic goal and you go, oh, I'm actually really confident and I haven't wanted to change my body in a really long time. And that feels really good.
It is so freeing when you get to that point. And we know that it takes a while because it's difficult to break down that barrier and change your mindset. But once you actively just start putting it into play, like start thinking differently, because it all comes from you and it all comes up here. Like, you control the way that you feel and the actions you decide to take. So just leaving you on some actionable points there. Like, if I was somebody who wanted to start moving away from chasing that next physique goal, I would be ditching the scales because, let's be honest, they fluctuate anyway. And most of the time they're just not accurate. I'll be putting down the tape measure. I would, even to a certain extent, be stepping away from taking progress pictures, and I would be getting myself a training plan that I truly enjoyed and that allowed me to chase some performance goals that I really want to hit. So sit and think, like, what would I love to do? Would I love to do a pull-up? Would I love to go and run this amount of distance? What is it that you would really like to achieve? And start leaning into those things instead, because what happens is you increase your training intensity, you start working harder, you're more consistent because you show up more, because you've got something that's motivating to show up for. And then after all of that, your body then just naturally changes. And like Ella said there, you just stop thinking about it. You just start feeling naturally more confident because you're not just so stressed on, have I lost a weight this week? Have I dropped my 2 pounds that I set myself to do? Has my body changed? Have I dropped a few inches? Like, it's honestly just so draining. You're not going to keep going forever by chasing that physique goal week in, week out.
Definitely. And if you're someone who has maybe already achieved their physique goals and wants to maintain them, let's say, it's really just about trusting the process and being like, I know that I can be confident whatever training I'm doing. And just because I'm changing the way I train and I'm training more for performance, that doesn't mean I have to change everything about, you know, the way I train or what exercises I do and stuff like that. And I guess my biggest piece of advice would just be to genuinely trust the process and know that nothing's going to change and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So to wrap up this episode, guys, we hope that you have enjoyed it. We've still got some more episodes coming your way, so make sure that you do subscribe or follow, depending on what platform you're on, and we'll leave our Instagram in the description as well. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we will speak to you next week.
See you next week.